Happy New Year to all our esteemed viewers, and you're welcome to the very first episode of your guide to the maritime sector, Nimasa this week. It's been a beehive of joyous activities in different parts of Nigeria and other climes. And it's a brand new year 2025. It promises to be exciting because we shall go far and above to bring you juicy details, reports, activities, and policies that will add value and also advance the cause of the Nigerian maritime sector. I remain your uncle, Moyoluwa Olutayo. You're welcome to this new voyage that is just beginning, and I'm excited to be here with you. Let's do this together. I'll be right back.
Nimasa this week. You are watching Nimasa this week.
You are watching Nimasa this week.
You are watching Nimasa this week.
The voice of maritime in Nigeria.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We are number one.
Nimasa this week. The voice of maritime, showing on these stations.
The program is Nimasa this week. We kick off today with a review of one of the major activities embarked upon last year by the Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, CON. Stakeholders within and outside the country converged for a workshop on seabird activities, where the Honorable Minister himself led discussions at the workshop, where key issues such as regulatory framework, environmental protection, technological advancement, and equity resource distribution were addressed. Stay tuned on the program. I'll be right back.
Nigeria's deep sea bed holds significant potential for valuable resources, including minerals such as polymetallic nodules, cobalt, nickel, copper, and rare earth elements. These minerals are critical for global technology industries, including renewable energy. This perhaps informed the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, working with Nimasa, to host a workshop on deep-sea mining activities in Nigeria. The Honorable Minister, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, CON, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Olufemi Oloruntola, stated that the ministry, in collaboration with the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, is fully committed to fostering partnerships with industry players, driving innovation and championing sustainability.
Our collective mission is to harness the vast potential of our marine resources, and this workshop marks a significant step towards achieving this goal. Nigeria's establishment of a full-fledged ministry of marine and blue economy in 2023 demonstrates the commitment of government to diversifying our economy and capitalizing on global surge in deep sea exploration. As a major oil producing country with an extensive coastline and inland waterways, we cannot afford to have a mistake frontier.
Following the appointment of Dr. Dayo Mobirela as the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, staff and stakeholders looked forward to its resumption. Eager to meet the new DG CEO, management and staff of the agency converged at the boardroom of the agency at the Nimasa Tower, Victoria Island, Lagos, where Honorable Chudi Afodile, who held sway in acting capacity, received him alongside the executive directors.
We are glad that you have arrived today, and I will simply ask you to please stand on this 22nd day of March 2024. I welcome you, Dr. Dayo Mobirela, as the brand new Director General of Nimasa. And I hand this over.
He formally handed over to the Digi CEO while assuring him of the readiness to work with him to realize the mandate of the agency. In his maiden address, the Nimasa Digi Dr. Mobiriola assured that the agency's management under his leadership would build a purpose-driven organization while also prioritizing effective communication at all levels to enhance innovation, collaboration, and synergy.
I am to foster an environment of innovation, collaboration, and synergy, creating an atmosphere that encourages development of our employees' skills, talents, and creativity. One of my key objectives is to focus on effective communication at all levels. I firmly believe that open and transparent communication is the foundation of a successful organization.
The Director General of Nimasa, Dr. Dayo Mubiriola, attended the 82nd session of the Marine Environment Protection Committee meeting at the IMO headquarters. During this visit, he also had a private meeting with the IMO Secretary General, Arsenio Dominguez. During the session, Dr. Mubiriola assured the IMO Secretary General of Nigeria's commitment to the development of its maritime industry in accordance with globally accepted standards.
In trying to secure the maritime space in terms of safety and security, and we can boast fully well that we have done well with zero piracy in the last 3 years, and to also confirm our commitment to the fact that we would ensure that it stays like that. Sustainability is the key word for us.
There is no way you won't be having problem with the ship owners because of the CPFF. But there is one thing you're supposed to do, sir. All we are expecting you to do, sir. Just tell them the truth. The rightful owner of that fund. Who is the owner of the CFFF? Are they the owner? Or does the money belong to the government, sir?
Where is the CVFF? The CVFF, as of today, is with the federal government. And it is for our own use. It is for the use of the ship owners. It is not being touched. It is not a revenue. It is a contribution towards the development of the Nigerian shipping industry and ship owners.
As part of efforts to enhance capacity in the Nigerian maritime sector, the management of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, and the Bank of Industry, BOI, have initiated discussions on potential strategies for capacity building within the sector. The Director General of Nimasa, Dr. Dayo Mubiriola, represented by the Executive Director of Maritime Labour and Cabotage Services, Mr. Jibril Abba, hosted the management of the Bank of Industry, led by the Executive Director of Large Enterprises, Mrs. Ifoma Uzokwala, in a meeting where both organizations agreed to collaborate in realizing the federal government's vision to reposition the maritime sector, particularly with the creation of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy.
The guidelines is actually very specific. It lays it bare as to who would be able to play as a primary lending institute, and also in terms of the other aspects of being a guarantor. The PLI route as it is in the guidelines is it mentions commercial banks, coming in as PLIs. So, but right now what we're trying to do is to expand the basket to bring in the likes of BOI so that they can come and play within the space, because we feel that BOI actually does have the capacity to come in and play in that space.
BOI is really very experienced and we understand what you want to do. The success story recorded from the NCDMB is testament to that. Some things may need clarification and better understanding, but I believe it's something we can walk through and truly get it running, because this would actually be good for Nimasa and good for BOI too.
The good thing about the maritime industry is that years don't just stand alone. Most of the activities, most of the expectations are usually rolling. Rolling means it's 2024 will roll into 2025. Key area is that we will continue as projected by UNCTAD. We will continue to have this post-COVID trade growth of about 20% as is been projected.
A proper maritime nation that owns and operates ships in all the different sectors that serve the Nigerian economy. So the question then arises, why do we not have those ships? I think that in 2025 is a year where we will have to break through that jinx. Is a year where we would have to make up our mind what the structure of our trade is, make up our mind what type of ships will best serve the country, make up our minds exactly how much of the tonnage that is required can be facilitated by contributions that will be made by Nimasa. So we're hoping that in 2025 we will make a transition away from a country that talks about owning and operating ships to one that actually owns and operates shipping.
In 2025, we pray for a robust economy. We pray for a robust economy, like I said. And how can we have a robust economy as it relates to the maritime sector? We expect a policy, government policy consistency, because whatever policy government makes, it does have, it reflects on the activities in the port, in the maritime sector as a whole.
The government to strengthen the naira the more. Because the way things are now, if we are by entry 25 and the economy is still the same, it is now. So what is going to happen in 2025? We don't want an old wine in a new bottle to repeat itself. The economic situations in the port now is affecting all the investors. Some of the investors are no longer ready for business as a result of the dollars and the naira, because our naira is very weak. So we want to employ the government to make it be more to strengthen our naira.
The program is Nimasa This Week. Moving on, as we commence marine activities for the year 2025, it shouldn't be business as usual on our waterways. As we all know, environmental pollution is an incurable disease. It can only be prevented. Last year, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, developed a revised marine litter action plan to combat land-based sources of marine litters and a well-articulated actions to combat sea-based sources of marine litters. We implore all our stakeholders to join forces with the agency to protect the Nigerian marine environment as you do your part. Stay tuned on the program. I'll be right back.
Marine litter is part of the broader problem of waste management, which is becoming a major public health and environmental concern in many countries around the world. On February 10, 2021, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency launched the Marine Litter and Microplastic Action Plan to tackle plastic waste in the country's waterways. And this week, the agency hosted the second National Task Force implementation meeting for the Maritime Action Plan on Marine Litter and Plastics Management in Nigeria.
I am greatly honored and pleased to welcome you all to the second meeting on the implementation of the Maritime Action Plan on Marine Litter and Plastic Management in Nigeria. As you are all aware, this task force was constituted to coordinate the full execution of the roadmap of the Maritime Action Plan. Bearing in mind the purpose of this meeting, which is aimed at ensuring public stewardship and effective implementation of the Maritime Action Plan, Nimasa remains committed to achieving sustainable socio-economic development in the maritime sector through partnership and policies that will ensure cleaner oceans, sustain safer shipping, and enhance maritime capacity.
This week, we had a conversation with Chiazor Anishere, SAN, a senior advocate of Nigeria and one of Nigeria's most prominent maritime lawyers. Now let's hear her thoughts on the maritime industry's performance in 2024.
In the year 2024, the Nigerian maritime industry has had some challenges, well, typical, but it's managed to keep its head afloat. First is the fact that there's been a change of baton. We've had to change many of the CEOs of the maritime agencies that are of very important note to the industry. I'm talking about the Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigerian Shippers Council, the Nigerian Maritime Administrative and Safety Agency, and of course the umbrella body itself, which is now known as the Marine and Blue Economy Ministry. Before now, it was known as the Ministry of Transportation. Even NIWA has a new CEO. So these changes wouldn't have occurred without some challenges, such as having to review the respective acts of the various agencies that I've enumerated. But the Nigerian maritime industry has worked hard and is still working hard, not only to ensure that it's in line with the reality of the day, but most importantly, to align itself with the various conventions that actually keep us at bay as a maritime nation. The industry's accession to 6 conventions of the IMO is applaudable, and that couldn't have been possible without the hard work of the Nigerian Maritime Administrative and Safety Agency, with particularly its legal department. So I commend my colleagues at the legal department of Nimasa, and of course the leadership of the agency. So 2024, ups and downs, but it hasn't been that bad. It's still work in progress. It's work in progress. It's It's encouraging, and I'm sure we'll see greater results in the new year.
She also shares her expectations for the maritime industry this year, 2025.
2025, we are hopeful that many conventions that Nigeria has ratified to will also be domesticated. We need this to be domesticated as soon as possible so that we'll have policies that are, how do I put it, policies that will help Nigeria to indeed take its rightful position as a maritime nation. When we have good policies in place, the international community will respect us. Our jurisdiction will be an investment jurisdiction for businessmen and women to come into a country to invest in it because we have good policies in place. So our domesticating other conventions that we have ratified will actually ensure that we achieve that much in terms of ease of doing business and much more. We also look forward to 2025, where the Deep Blue Sea project that the federal government has established under the aegis of Nimasa will actually be utilized when it comes to safety of our coastal waters. There is a lot of debate ongoing on the establishment of the Nigerian Coast Guard. Now, I'm not going to talk about the Nigerian Coast Guard because of the many schools of thought. But what we want as a Nigerian maritime stakeholder is that whether we have a Nigerian Coast Guard or we don't, the Deep Blue Sea project is a huge project which helps to safeguard our territorial waters, our coastal waters, our EEZ. And the Deep Blue Sea project has actually also helped to safeguard the Gulf of Guinea. And I remember that singular effort of Nimasa under the aegis of the then Ministry of Transportation, now Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, has actually put Nigeria on a very beautiful light, where in the past 2-3 years there was a zero report of piracy in our waters. That is hugely commendable. We can't write it off. We have to remember that always. And so we must not let that huge project, is an elephant project of the federal government, be left comatose.
She has this message for all maritime stakeholders.
I'd like to use this opportunity to wish the Nimasa legal team, they're working very hard, and all the other departments in Nimasa, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, a very Merry Christmas. And of course, the CEO of Nimasa, Dr. Mubiriola, I wish him and his family a very Merry Christmas. And of course, to us maritime stakeholders, we work tirelessly. We sit in public hearings. We have issues and issues. We work tirelessly. To our seafarers, to the ship owners, to the maritime lawyers, to the maritime administrators, the master mariners, you name them. We all deserve a very Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to all stakeholders in Nigerian maritime industry.
package for today, the very first episode of the program for the year 2025. It's been an interesting time on the program today. Let's do this again next week. Same time, same station, same platform. Bon voyage.